ki khubor ka Batisi TV lawan ra shapi da ka Orange Nissan Lumso pho near Fire Brigade Shillong.
Admissions are open at BDW International School. Enroll now.
Kajingshong Bishar kaba arsngi jong ka National Human Rights Commission kabalalong hanong ba Shillong ban sngap ni ki jing o jingnam bat ki jing mudui na ki kinhon ba pher na ki lai tili ki jilla ki ba kinthop ye ka jilla Meghalaya Mizoram bat Tripura ha ka ba yadei bat ka jing pen Kenya ki hok long breu man breu kala kutno ha ka khat santerik ubanai no pra arhajar arpuwei Haga jingtian bishar ki khat khandai dili ki case ki officer ki ba mi khman ye ki sarkar jilla ke liye tho bakila dep seo bai lut ksan shipho point san pusaw lak tingka kat kum ga jing ptha jong commission bat ye ka bai lut ksan ka badangsa sa saw pho 100,000 tingka an sapalai no shen bat haga jo ka por ka commission ka lapan ru ye ka jing pen shisha ha ka ba ye dei bat ka jing seo jong ka sarkar ye ka bai lut ksan shakilanot ki bangat ha ka jing sha pen khan jong ka hok long breu man breu yegini ki khat khandai tri ki case la shong bishar ka full bench jong ka commission hapo ka jing penya jong ki khat ki bekin thop ya justice Kumar dr dm mule but mr rajiv jain na pedengi ni ki khat khandai tri ki case henreu tli ki case na ka jilla Meghalaya lai tli na ka jilla Mizoram but shipotli na ka jilla Tripura.
With regard to the problem of anemia or cancer, all those things we can take up after we have received something in writing. And Mr. Pradhan, our Secretary General, would supplement.
Sir, with the permission of Chair, I think Access to Health or Ayushman Bharat is a flagship program. And I will just supplement what the Chair has said. Please give us in writing, please email to us the specific issue regarding the public health. And if I have to share something, I might not be an expert on the health facilities in all these 3 states, but to be precise, Meghalaya has got 12 big hospitals, 30 community health centers, 110 primary health centers, and government-run civil hospitals in all 11 districts. Infrastructure-wise, resources-wise, doctor-wise, nurse-wise, there are limitations. There are capacity issues. Maybe the hospital is there, the facilities are there, but to run those facilities, we don't have skilled manpower. It is true for all the states, for all the districts, but you must be aware the Honorable Prime Minister has rolled out that Ayushman Bharat, and those poor people who don't have adequate access to the private hospitals, they can avail that insurance under the PM Ayushman Bharat. Then we have PM Jan Aushadhi program. I would urge you people through your window, please spread necessary awareness about the central and state schemes so that people have due access. They know that these are the facilities available under the centrally sponsored scheme, under Ayushman Bharat, under PM Jan Aushadhi Yojana. We would request you people, you become a partner in spreading the message relating to the central sector schemes, whether it is right to food, whether it is right to health, or right to information, or universal housing scheme. There are n number of schemes, and please be a partner, be a stakeholder in spreading the message to the last man residing in the remote areas. And there are paucity of ambulances in the entire state of Meghalaya. We have roughly 70 plus ambulances. We might have the ambulances, and some NGO representative today in the morning flagged the issue that the ambulance drivers or the helpers are not getting the minimum wages. So we have requested them to give us in writing. We would take up with the Chief Secretary or the State Administration. So despite the limitations, but right to health is an integral part of right to life. And I have seen sometimes in August 2020, death of 877 newly born and 61 pregnant women between April 2020 to July 2020 due to diseases other than the coronavirus. So on behalf of the Commission, we can assure the citizens of these 3 states, if you give us in writing, definitely the Commission, whatever will be deemed appropriate, we will definitely intervene. We are not going to disappoint you, but please give us in writing. And so far as right to health is concerned, I will just conclude by saying right to health is integral to right to life. Newborn infants and the pregnant women need to be protected at all costs. Thank you.
Well, then the issue of mining has been raised. Yesterday, we have 2 cases where 6 laborers in one case and 5 in the other case were crushed under the debris. In one case, it was coal mines. Because of flood in the coal mines, 5 laborers were buried. In the other case, under the debris, 6 laborers were buried. State has although disbursed the compensation at the rate of 5 lakhs to each one of the laborers. Some unidentified persons were also there, therefore their amount is available, but the moment they are identified, that the amount will be disbursed. But during the meeting of the Chief Secretary in the afternoon, as well as during the hearing of cases, the Commission has raised the query that when illegal mining takes place, it is not a small operation which can escape the eye of state authorities. So what is the reason that illegal mining is allowed to go on like this? The answer given by the state authority was that it involves a number of departments, therefore some lapse is committed. But we raise the issue that if the mining is lawful, it is in accordance with the law, the auction will be done, then revenue will come to the state. The illegal miner, otherwise a contractor, he engages illegally the labor. So the whole law is displaced. I think the authorities were convinced that even if it is a multi-departmental task, then some mechanism could be evolved to put a check on illegal mining and to avoid, because once it is a licensed mining, then all protective measures to protect the labor, to do mining only in a safe manner could be ensured. So that point was well taken by the state authorities, and we would like to have any complaint in writing in that area so that we may keep on keep the state authorities under check by asking them time and again these questions. An issue has been raised with regard to the right to food. Yesterday also this issue was discussed during the hearing, because an NGO has filed a complaint that Aadhaar seeding with the ration card sometime is not productive, internet connection is not available, or for whatever reasons, then the PDS, public distribution system, the manual system is in place, because the state authorities have taken the stand that no one in the state was without food. Food was given to everybody. But the NGO has controverted this stand. We have asked the state government again to come back with the reply about the status, whether if there is a failure of connectivity, their connectivity issue, whether PDS system continues to work or people with the ration card have to go without food. The other issue raised is that number of people don't have the ration card. Now this is a very important, vital issue. What are the reasons for not acquiring a ration card? So kindly flag this issue, give a call through the press, ask them to send a complaint to us so that we may look into and we may ensure that they also get ration card and their Aadhaar connectivity is established and they also start getting the food. Otherwise, the government has issued number of plans. We have also issued advisory to ensure that food reaches to all wherever. Then there was complaint by the NGOs that only rice is being given, the sugar and atta has been deleted. So we have requested them again to give us in writing. Another pertinent issue raised by one of the friends in the media, that there was no information given about this public hearing. We have issued public notice in the press on 27th of November. 27th of November. We have requested all to come forward, and our take is that in this convention hall, nobody was stopped from coming. It is incorrect that any restrictions were imposed on any public person to come and meet us. And at the time of public hearing, number of complainants were present or their representatives were present. The state government was represented by their respective council or the secretaries. Advocate General Tripura was present also. It's not that there is some manipulation on the part of anybody. There should not be any doubt in the mind of anyone that if there was any restriction imposed on anyone to come and hear, to participate in the public hearing. Public hearing was exposed to everybody. Then these NGOs, they have also come and they have flagged so many issues. We are very happy that there is a vibrance, there is awareness, complete awareness amongst those NGOs about the issues which general public is facing. Arrest, illegal arrest, they flagged the issue of illegal arrest. They flagged the issue of food, non-supply of food. They flagged the issue of road connectivity. They flagged the issue of doctor not available in the dispensary, only one doctor after so many villages. So it is not that these NGOs were tutored people or they were talking about the establishment. No, they were very critical, and we were happy to note their viewpoints. And as far as APSA is concerned, the National Human Rights Commission is a body which it makes a recommendation. It is an act of the legislation. As you know, legally speaking, constitutionally speaking, an act can be challenged before the court of law on two counts. One, it violates basic structure of the Constitution. The first count on which an act of the legislature can be challenged before the court of law is that it violates the basic structure of the Constitution. Two, that the legislature was not competent to frame this law. As you know, in the Constitution, we have three lists, and union list where the Parliament can frame law. There are 67 subjects listed in that list. Then state list, where the local issues have been given to the state legislative assembly. Then there is a concurrent list, the grey areas where both can frame law. But the union law prevails if the state law come in conflict with the union law. So on these two counts, a legislation can be challenged before a court of law in the High Court or in the Supreme Court. So we as NHRC will not be able to tell legislature to repeal this act. If any one of you know, a writ of certiorari can never be issued to legislature. They have their own privileges. What is the writ of certiorari? Writ of certiorari is a writ which directs the authority concerned to act in accordance with law. We cannot summon the record of the legislature, the High Courts or the Supreme Court, because there are boundaries created. Judiciary has to function within its own boundary. State legislature or union legislature has to act within its own limitation. One cannot interfere. Now they are free to frame law, but judiciary can strike it down on the ground that it violates basic structure, or the legislature was not competent, it is impinging upon the discipline or the area or the subject of the other. Union legislature not competent, it is a state subject. State legislature not competent, it is a union subject. So friends, NHRC in such a situation would not be competent to say that this law is unlawful. It is framed by the legislature. It is, yes, if there are excesses committed while implementing this law, certainly we are competent. Kindly bring forward, have the complaints before us that APSA has been misused. Something has been done under APSA which was absolutely unwarranted. We will interfere. But if you say that we can make a recommendation for repealing, that we are not competent, sir. In the court of law, there are limited grounds available, as I have explained, and Supreme Court, High Courts have declared so many laws as ultra vires of the Constitution. So that is my take on APSA. And then In various cases, the commission has taken suo motu notice also, that Nagaland, where the civilian has been killed, we have taken suo motu notice. We are awaiting their response. So it's not that when in Andhra there was a case where a minister was shouting from the rooftop that a rapist, the so-called rapist, they said he's a rapist, he will be killed in a fake encounter. We took notice. It's not that we turn a blind eye to the glaring cases where excesses are committed. Whenever a cases of these nature come before the commission, we come heavily on the authorities. We don't spare them. So there should not be any doubt that within the parameters of law, if authorities are functioning, then it's okay. Otherwise, we come in. Wherever human rights violations are reported, human rights violations come. On daily basis, we have large number of complaints of minor rape, killed, from various states. The complaint of sexual harassment, the complaint of domestic violence, the complaint of custodial death. I will like to share with you that we have a blanket order passed long ago by the National Human Rights Commission. What is that blanket order? That if there is any custodial death, the authority concerned will immediately, within 48 hours, will report that death and the circumstances to the commission. Within 48 hours. And then we investigate on our own, and if we find that the custodial death is the result of any unlawful action on the part of the police authorities, not only the compensation is awarded to the next of the kin, the officer responsible for those illegal activity is proceeded against departmentally. In a large number of cases, the officers have been charge-sheeted, criminally proceeded, even dismissed from service on the basis of conviction. In a number of cases, increments have been stopped. The promotions, they have been reverted back to their original post. So, we are doing human service, if I say so, to the cause of human rights. So, this is one question was raised about the judicial inquiry.
It's an incident happened a few months back in which some person died. It was raised in that also. So the state government has instituted an inquiry.
Oh, that state government has instituted judicial inquiry. If there is any grievance before us, we will welcome. We will also welcome to take up that issue. Because otherwise, we cannot take any cognizance of any issue in air. It has to be on tangible facts before us. As I have said, every organization works within the assigned discipline. We cannot replace the assembly or parliament. We cannot interfere. If we say that this act is ultra vires, as I said, that if there is any misuse of AFSA, you are welcome. But we cannot say that AFSA is a bad law, therefore we are not writ court, we are not High Court or Supreme Court. Even High Court and Supreme Court, there are two limited broad grounds available. If AFSA is sought to be challenged, it can be challenged on the ground that it violates basic structure of the Constitution. Sir, you kindly appreciate the areas of discipline. We have to act in the area of discipline. Kindly study the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. Is there any power given to the Commission to declare an act of this nature as ultra vires, or asking the legislature to repeal it? If you can show us any provision, we are one with you. There is none. You kindly don't ask us to do something which we cannot do.
I think the government of India's position regarding the refugee issue is very, very clear.
We have not signed.
And you are also aware of the fact.
We have not signed.
And so far, see, the humanitarian assistance is concerned, and the state government has done enough, and you are aware of that also. And regarding the refugee, international covenant, whatever is there, the posturing of India is very much clear. No matter whether at the state government level or at the central government level, whenever there is a humanitarian crisis, India always believes in that the whole world is a family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Whatever is possible in terms of medicines, in terms of disaster relief, in terms of medical care, India has been doing it, and the neighboring, the bordering state government is also doing it. You are aware of this. And when the larger issue of refugee, we must respect the commitment and the guiding principle of the India's posturing at the UN level. All of us as citizens of this country, we must respect the posturing and the stand of our government.
Refugees concerned, even the foreigners Article 21 is applied like the citizen. So there is no debarring them for getting the humanitarian aid. In case of Myanmar or in case of Rohingyas, the NHRC also taken up the matter in the Supreme Court, where NHRC has given intervention. Even if the government of India has taken a stand, NHRC has a limited role for providing them the shelter, food and the medicine. Similarly, in the matter that you are referring to, you can also send us a complaint with the number of people who have their line, so we can take up the issue with the state government. So for that, besides the notwithstanding the fact that India is not International Convention of Asylum and the asylum seeker and the refugees, that is a policy matter to be taken by the government level. But humanitarian concern is concerned, since Article 21 is applicable for non-citizens and the foreigners also, so NHS is open to ask the government to provide the humanitarian facilities.
We need to have the name of the person who has not been given the salary. Kindly concretize the facts, put the facts before us in writing. We will take action.
Sir, this fact was also brought out by the NGO representatives.
Yes.
The ASA workers, Anganwadi workers, contractual workers, and some of the teachers, ambulance drivers. Some of these contractual workers are not getting the remuneration or honorarium. There has been delay of 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. Definitely, if you give us in writing what the chair was requesting you, please give us in writing. We will take up with the state government, and to be very honest with you all, at the end of the day, it is the ways and means position. But if somebody is working for the government, they must be paid timely remuneration, timely honor. That much we can assure you on behalf of the Commission. We will take up with the state government.
We have made it clear. Even yesterday, we had a case before us. The person was killed, and the defense of the state was that he was dacoit. And this was from Tripura, I think.
Sir.
Tripura. And we disbelieve the version given by the police, Tripura police. We discarded that version. We accepted the version of the complainant and awarded compensation. Advocate General Tripura was there with us, and he was not able to controvert the allegations, because Commission by minute scrutiny found so many holes in the version of the police. And our DG, Director General, Mr. Mehra, he has analyzed the whole thing. The Commission accepted the report, analysis made by our DG, and we rejected the police version. It is not in one case, it happens in large number of cases where we don't accept the police version. So if you bring these facts before us. We need concretized facts, tangible facts, in order to put the other side on notice and then seek their response. And if their response is false, we have enough armory in our we have enough weapons in our armory to explode that theory also. Yesterday this was one case where we proved that we are not going to accept whatever the state authorities are going to claim. So the compensation, I think 7 lakh or 5 lakh be awarded in that case yesterday. So kindly bring before us the cases, and that is what we are urging to we have urged to the NGOs, that don't be afraid, don't be scared. If you won't speak out, then we will be oblivious of the human rights violations. You are a vibrant society, you are vibrant people, you are aware, and you have to bring to the notice of the Commission the concrete examples, the illustration where violations have taken place. If you feel that there was a police atrocity of killing a person during daytime without any reason, kindly bring these facts before us. Even if there is judicial inquiry order, we will like to see. We will interfere in this matter. Kindly come forward. Any complainant can come, any NGO can come, any press people can come.